Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries, and we are on another episode of This or That, where you get to pick two things that we get to talk about, and we compare them, we argue about them, or we just stare at each other and wait for somebody to make an answer.
Right.
And
I'm Jasper from Fitment Industries.
it's your last week.
It's my last week. I'm gone
sad?
Friday.
I can already see the top comment, bring back Jasper.
On every other video.
But then they'll forget.
Right. They always forget.
And then the summertime will come back.
And then
You'll hit them again with a little musky.
Right. Musky.
Yeah, a little musky action,
Yeah.
just a little bit of mustache. What is the featured wheel before we forget?
Rotiform WGR. Super nice red chrome-ish thing that they have. Super, I don't know. I love this finish.
The red. It's a popular finish. I think it's going to be an awesome finish for 2019, one-piece cast, that sort of stuff. Let's get into it. So we have, if you guys want to be part of the next episode, all you have to do is comment below whether we would go with this or whether we would go with that. And then you can rate up or rate down, and we'll pick like 5 or 7 or 10 of them, depending on how easy they are to answer.
Or like 5.
Or 5, I guess. Jeez.
All right, so the first question comes from Adrian Solund. And he asks, chassis mount wing with wide body or roof spoiler with diffuser?
So,
I don't know, what would you do?
chassis mount wide body or roof spoiler
And diffuser.
and diffuser. Well, I hate chassis mount wings. Cannot stand them. So yeah, roof spoiler, diffuser. Diffusers always look good. They like, a lot of rear bumpers always sit really high, and you know, roof spoilers just have that extra like.
I would say wide body and chassis mount, and I think that I would do that is just because I can't do the roof spoiler. I think it's just odd. And the diffuser's getting dated, and I know it's weird to say, but like diffusers were
You don't think
in
wide
3
bodies
years
are getting
ago.
dated?
Not as bad as splitters are. Splitters were before the wide body craze. That was back when everybody wanted to make, they went to Menards or Fleet Farm,
ABS plastic.
and they went and they bought all that stuff, and then they cut it all, they mounted it crooked, and then they'd install it all on the back
Splitter
of,
rods.
Yeah, and then that was the thing, and then finally they're like, oh, we can do this on the side of our car too,
Right.
and then they went with like the wide body over fender thing. I think that's what I would go with,
Yeah.
but in my eyes, I try not to imagine any like the BRZ FRS scene anymore with the wide body and the big chassis mount wing. I try to imagine like a nice, clean, sleek wing on like a 458 Liberty Walk.
Now that you have, you know, 2 porches.
Eric Pacheco asks, tuck fitment on some
Pacheco.
three-piece wheels.
You
or
really
fender to lip
like that name.
on
Linko.
some one-piece concave wheels.
So in case you weren't listening, because you really enjoyed his last name,
Pacheco. Pacheco.
it was. Oh my God, I want to shoot you.
3-piece.
One-piece wheels, fender to lip, or 3-piece wheels tucked. What would you choose? Let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Fender to lip.
Yeah, 3-piece. Tucked. Because, you know, I'm doing that now actually. So the fronts are like, I don't know, I'm doing the opposite of what Jared's doing, because he's in the room now that I think about it, is like my front is like, because of turning, which blows that we have to turn, but like, it's about fender to lip.
But here's
Can
the
I
thing.
give the argument about one piece though?
Yeah,
Is one
because
piece,
that's.
one piece is cool because you can get like really concaved, but it's not common.
But not
right?
just that. Think about how hard it is to get fender to lip on one-piece cast wheels that aren't customizable.
You buy a lot of spacers, man. You can do a lot
But
of stuff.
imagine not having spacers and getting a fender to lip on a one-piece cast. How
What, are you
hard
gonna
would
do
that
positive camber?
be? No, but like if you ran like Cosmis race like 18 by 11 plus 8s, you just figured it out how to make it work. Like would that not be worth more than 3-piece for a tuck setup?
No, like it looks, that's the thing though, it looks good regardless, right?
Yeah.
But I think the thing is with cast, because regardless of the situation, I guess with 3-piece you can change, but how often do you really do that?
Yeah.
Like I bought my wheels hoping they would kind of fit. Like I was like,
remember
oh,
you said the story.
this roughly kind of would work, kind of, and you know, like I did it, but like I wasn't just gonna buy smaller lips, like that.
I think I'm thinking about it more from the perspective of how hard it was gonna be versus like the look of it. Because I feel like doing it with a one-piece cast would be so much more difficult than doing it with 3-piece wheels.
Okay.
And for that, I would be like, nice work.
Right.
So that's just me. But hey, what do I know?
Light car, like a lightweight car
Okay,
with
yeah.
low horsepower, or a heavy car with high horsepower.
Ooh.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
high.
Because it's just scooting around on 4,000, 4,500 pounds with like 700 horsepower or 600 horsepower. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Like you're still not that fast, but you can do the nastiest burnouts.
Right. Like, yeah.
Like anybody can do a burnout in a Mazda Miata. Let's be real.
Like it's like a numbers thing. If you're like, oh, I got a Mazda Miata, and they're like, ooh, how much? Like it's so fast, dude. It like beats everything. Like it runs the 11s in the fucking in the quarter mile. You
230 horse.
Yeah, right. You're like, how much is it? 300. Like, so does my Golf. Like, my Golf R also has 300 horsepower. So it's like, you know, and then you get like the whole Hellcat, and you're like 800 Johnnies and a 5,000 pound big Johnny, and
it's fun. Big cars with a lot of horsepower is a ton of fun because it's a different feeling, I think, where if you want responsiveness, go for a small car with small horsepower.
Right.
If you want something that is just a blast to drive around, big horsepower car.
Yeah, 700 horsepower feels cool regardless.
Yeah. Even like the Scat Pack 392s and stuff like that are an absolute blast to drive. They have so much power.
Because we're talking about heavy cars and muscle cars. And, that's
well, like E63 AMGs are the same thing.
Yeah.
Throw an exhaust on that bad boy in a tune and you're ready to roll like 600 horse.
E60.
E63?
No, E60 M5.
Yeah.
Like
that's
it's a
true
V10.
too.
Like it's a cool sounding motor, and like you're not gonna put a V10 in a Miata.
It's true. You can also take an Audi S6 with the detuned Gallardo motor and up-tune it. You put that tongue back in your mouth.
There's my lips. Okay, yeah, sorry, the question comes from, what's his name?
Hyper Nako?
Yeah, there we go.
He asks, lowrider or hot rod / resto mod?
Oh my God, that is a really good question. That's
the question.
Oh, I love both.
Hot rod or lowrider is what I'm grasping from that, right? I'll start off. I would probably say hot rod, then lowrider.
Hot rod. Yeah.
So I feel like the hot rod. So like the lowrider, I think is very much about like a very specific thing on the car, and I am not well versed in lowrider culture. So if there's people out there that are watching this video, they're probably gonna get mad at what I'm about to say. But like, I feel like the lowriding culture is very, like it came out of the scene because nobody wanted to race cars anymore because the 70s came along and it was a super like difficult time with the EPA and all of that stuff and like actually just enjoying going to the drag strip and stuff. So then people started just cruising versus going to the drag strip and going to tracks and stuff like that. That's ultimately a lot where that lowrider scene came from.
So you're saying they weren't allowed to have power, so they were just like, let's make it look cool?
A lot of it was that. Not
Okay.
just that, but it was very difficult to get parts. It was more expensive. The EPA was like in full swing. So like people just started, they would save money and they would cruise. Like that's how they enjoyed their car when they could. They didn't take it to the track, they didn't take it to the drag strip because it was too much money, it was too hard to get involved in. And so I think as a result, a lot of the lowrider community is very like specific to just like cruising and then having like some, you know, wheels, tires, maybe like some different stuff. But like the hot rod culture is like the core, and the subcategory of the hot rod culture is the lowrider culture. So like I think the hot rod culture is a little bit neater and it has way more history than I think a lot of the lowrider culture does. And the capabilities of having a hot rod car, I think the amount of creativity, the cars that you'd have access to, the things that you could do to it far surpass the lowrider culture. Besides, when's the time that you've seen a Bel Air like drive along that you haven't broken your neck at? And you've just been like, oh my God.
I would say, first off, I think my choice would be lowrider.
Okay.
I think lowrider culture is like the coolest thing of all time. Like, you're talking about pinstripes, like the custom airbrush work that goes into lowriders is like phenomenal, right? Like it looks like someone like slapped a picture on the car, right?
But didn't that come from the hot rod culture?
Well, it's a little mix,
Yeah.
right? So like, I think what really changes lowriders is like the hydraulics in the end,
Yeah.
is like the reinforced frame. But that's kind of what I was gonna get to with the hot rods is they're so, like, hot rods are some of the lowest riding cars I've seen at times too.
Yeah.
Because this is the way I see hot rods. It's like typically a bucket. It starts as a bucket, like model, like, I don't know, like whatever the first car that could get a roof on it, basically. And then like the second you do like super custom work, like I see like as a hot rod. So you're talking about like flames and, you know, you add an exhaust and stuff like that.
I see like grease. All right, next question.
So next question comes from Gabriel Rankisoon.
Don't even try.
Stretch tires or chunky track tires?
Chunky like a fat tire? Is that what he
so
means by
subjective though. So I think that's a tough question to answer because like 315/25s on an 11 is stretch, technically.
technically stretch? Yeah.
So you can say stretch, and I think a lot of people assume like a 195 on like a 10.
Yeah.
I like meaty setups. I think they're super cool on the right cars. Nothing makes me happier than seeing like an Evo or something like that on some like beefy like TE37s, some R888Rs, and you're looking at the car and you're like, holy shit, that thing's gonna fly. And it probably is completely stock, but it looks like it's ready to fly. I think it's just a more aggressive look, but stretch tires give you a lot more versatility depending on how much you're trying to dial in fitment.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's all depending. There's like a Subaru that like comes to mind with like that has like bronze TE37s aired out on like some tiny flares, but he's aired out on tire, like on flat tire, which looks incredible. Like it just looks fast, but like I don't want like if I had a meaty setup on my car, it would look so bad.
Yeah,
but
because it's a different look though.
Yeah, I think I would.
But don't do stretch tires on stock suspension. You cannot do anything like that.
That was going to be my reasoning for if you're talking to the general public.
Yeah.
It would be like flat tire. Yeah. Let's just say flat is fitted tire because that can go with lowered stock suspension, stuff like that. Because if you go, you know, if you're running like mine, I have a 215/40 on a 10. If you had that in the air, like, if you had like your car like in the air,
it looked terrible. Next question, final question.
So wait, hold on, sorry. Do we both say like flat tire?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
So the next and final question comes from Heckle EM. Hood exit exhaust or fender exit exhaust?
Ooh.
Top exits.
Yeah.
What did I say?
No, I'm just saying tight. Like
they're just fucking neat. And then like
dope.
the moment you pop the hood off, it's all there. Like the whole shebang is
like normally
there.
there's a really cool like setup going into like
and it's
this
always
one
purposeful.
pipe, and,
you know, it just looks good. And people that have that usually generally know what they're doing.
And they normally shoot flames.
That's
That's normally like the hater pipe. It's called a hater pipe because it's just like.
But here's the problem. That's the younger Alex saying yes to the hood. It always looks like dog after like 2 months because they're doing the two-step, they're firing off into the air, and everything around that escape gets burnt,
the windshield's
gets torched,
dirty.
the windshield's dirty, I've seen windshield wipers melted, I've seen like hood where they cut it, it'll actually start to melt, like peel down,
some
the
people
whole
do it
fracture.
really well.
Yeah, but like 90% of the people that do it usually do it in the garage, and then like 50% of their hood is just So like it's super cool until you look at the rest of the car and you see that all of this crap is happening around it because it's like, it's not meant to be there, really. So I want to say fender because when you're shooting out of the fender or you're shooting out of the side, it's shooting away from the car instead of up and then back down. And you can drive it, generally speaking, you can drive it more. So if you have it completely open, you can't drive the car in any sort of inclement weather because of the water and because of all that stuff, and people usually don't recommend it.
Yeah,
when you have
they put
side,
like buckets on top of
and you do that properly, and if you actually install like a shield that I've seen people do, they'll attach a shield when it's supposed to rain or something like that. It's safer, it allows you to drive your car more.
Yeah.
It's still cool, it's just not as prominent.
Yeah. Yeah. So like it's just like the hood exit. When it's so cool, but like, and you know when it's done right, like I'm gonna go with like Josh Freeman, right? Because he has a really good hood exit. It's like really well done, like welds that go all the way up, and it goes past the hood so it doesn't burn it. And then he's got like this super like riveted steel like teardrop design around it. So it's very like well done. But fenders are just so uncommon for a thing. I mean, everyone's just like it almost seems like a cheap out at times when people are just like
just stick
the turbo sticks up, like just f it, like just let's have the pipe go up.
Are we good? So that is the last question. That was a long this or that though.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That was like a very like.
We hope you guys enjoyed. We'll actually drop like the questions in the description with like times so that if you want to skip past one and just get to the long one that we just rambled on about, you can do that.
Actually, that's a good idea.
But the middle one was probably I think my favorite question. That was a good question.
Lowriders and hot rods. That was it's like a very well described,
Yeah.
explained question.
So let us know what you guys want us to talk about next, and then drop a comment below whether we go with this or whether we go with that. Or if you have any other video ideas, just drop them below. And if we find a good idea and we like it so much, we'll probably just send you some free gear, t-shirt or something like that.
Don't forget too that there's as low as 0% financing.
You are like the plug for this thing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like Steve's really whooped my ass into it, where he's just like, and Greg, where they're just, and Gels actually, everyone has just been like, I see him behind the camera, 0%.
Yeah, 0% financing for up to 12 months.
As low as 0%
zero.
financing for the month of January. Also,
Fitmentindustries.com.
You do that wrong every goddamn
I
time.
know. I purposely
And
do though.
Also, we're doing a giveaway with Cosmis Racing. You can buy one of those sick t-shirts. That's the easiest way of entering the contest.
So we're just gonna let the video end right now.
Hold
I'm
on.
Alex from Fitment Industries.
I have to finish. The giveaway, you can win a Cosmis XT206R
Set.
set of
just one.
Cosmis XT206Rs. Yeah, easiest way to do it is buy a t-shirt, fitmentindustries.com.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we got.
Wheels, tires, suspension,
That stuff.
all the, the big things we sell, right? One of those. Yep, we sell them.
We'll see you guys later.
Peace.